Hello everybody, welcome to another video. I actually haven't posted in a little bit other than that stream announcement. That's actually my most recent video. But today we're looking into if Chad formed an empire. Now why Chad? Well, obviously because they are Chad. You can't compare to the country. But what if, let's say, they went south? What if, let's say, they formed an entire body? That's what they're going to be doing today. Now, the first country they're going to declare war on is the Central African Republic. And as one could imagine, the country is screwed. Forgot to mention this is that major alliances such as NATO, the UN, stuff like that is turned off in these videos. They don't exist. And also, Chad is buffed, so they're going to be able to quickly steamroll over Central African Republic. And also, they are completely stable, so that also doesn't help the situation of the Central African Republic. So the Chad Empire continues to move down south till eventually Central African Republic, an already unstable country, surrenders. Now let's take a look at a peace treaty. In a peace treaty, we see Chad obviously go south more and annex parts of the Central African Republic, creating a neck and a body and the beginning of an arm. Extra land that they don't need is given over to Gabon and Cameroon. And this right here, this is their eminence of Central African Republic, which sucks for them. But obviously, Chad is yet to be finished with their empire. So what they will do is they will go down, declare war on Cameroon. Now, Cameroon is gonna be pretty mad at this because like, hey, yo, you just gave us some land. So like, why? And then the Chad Empire says compensation for what's about to happen. Chad Empire quickly spearheads through their arm and is quick to capture the Cameroonian coast. But up north, there is a different story as Cameroon begins pushing into Chad, which obviously is going to make the people of Chad extremely angry. So what will they do except fight back? So they take troops from down here in the current front lines, but unfortunately this leads to a very, very small pushback from the coastline, allowing Cameroon to temporarily save themselves. But I do say temporarily because quickly Chadian forces will return. Once again, the coastline will come under force, and from there, it's not looking good. Chad begins to steamroll through the country, expanding their arm and beginning to go through other parts of land, extending this piece of Central African Republic that Chad once controlled, as they had previously invaded it, obviously. Also, I think that they buy from Nigeria if it's not Nigeria's. Either way, Cameroon surrenders. In a peace treaty, Chad gets a very, very small arm. Very tiny. So probably nothing will come from that. Well, as for up here, Nigeria gets these lands. I don't even know why Cameroon has that. If it is even Cameroon's. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. Oh my gosh, I can't draw. And these will be barely connected to Cameroon's mainland between the fingers. Now let's go on to our next country whom is going to be invaded. It's going to be the DRC and Sudan. Before this begins, however, we get a brand new coalition. Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, Central African Republic joins it. So does the Republic of Congo and Gabon. So we now have a coalition going against the Empire of Chad. Now going back to the run. Oh man. Chad is quick to send out their troops and pretty quickly separates the DRC from Sudan. Sudan is quick to surrender because they are extremely unstable, which allows troops to go down south to focus on the DRC, which is super useful for Chad because they quickly steamroll the DRC. They were not expecting this war at all, despite Chad's clear shenanigans up there. They were expecting maybe like an invasion from Rwanda or Angola or something, but not Chad. So after they lose their capital, they lose a few lakes, and eventually they simply surrender. In a peace treaty, oh my gosh. DRC loses a lot of land, and I do mean a lot, as we begin to see Chad's body form up. They are separated into 3 different sections. His section where the capital is, the southern section, which narrowly connects up to the 3rd section, and there would be a 4th section, or a real 3rd section technically, but it was given to South Sudan as compensation. So, after that fiasco, Chad will declare war on Angola. But this little coalition that's formed up, they are not going to let that happen. So, the coalition declares war against Chad. Chad quickly goes through their newfound leg and begins to go into Angola. But up north, some countries are going to regain some of their lost land, such as, for example, the Central African Republic, which is going to take the entire neck of Chad with the help of Cameroon, who's then going to go through with the help of the Republic of Congo to snatch the little arm that they have. Chad is being invaded on every single front line that they have, except for the front line in which they are invading, because in this front line they are doing extremely well. Angola, however, was more prepared than other countries, and this is what they wanted. They wanted Chad to work their little stuff, thinking, hey, we're gonna win this, you know? We're gonna go down here and we're gonna take them with ease. But Angola was actually working with the coalition. And now that the coalition is part of this war, Angola has a little bit of room to breathe as Chad takes back some troops from the front lines, which Angola quickly uses to push them very, very far back out of the country. Except there's one teeny tiny detail that all of these guys are missing. Chad is a Chad. They're quick to retake that neck of theirs, followed shortly by their upper body. And quickly they go into the arm and are quick to liberate it from foreign invaders. From here they invade or retake all the lands that were previously taken from them, and begin another invasion into these enemies. They use a similar strategy as they did with Cameroon, quickly taking their coastline, preventing them from doing anything else, while also taking lands around the arms, till eventually all the land around the arms have been taken, as well as that Equatorial Guinea's coastline is vanished, and Equatorial Guinea surrenders. Hippity hoppity, Cameroon's southern portion is now Chad's property. Chad begins an invasion point from these newly found territories that they have taken, and begin a push out from every single non-invaded part that they have that's touching some sort of blue, including down here in the south. And quickly they push around and create two spearheads, which aim at cutting the country in half, or technically into 3 or 4 pieces. This over here is cut from the rest of the country, followed shortly by this front line over here. So now, if Chad wanted to, they could go for the Zambia, but they're not going to, because they're more focused up here, where they quickly invade into Central African Republic and go from that nice sweet chin of theirs and from their mouth and their nose to take northern Cameroon, that weird panhandle they have, until eventually Cameroon becomes like a really weird square, almost like Wyoming. Like, seriously, who makes these invaded land points? Whoever does that, they must be evil. Cameroon then surrenders. The Chad Empire then does what they were doing before, circling around DRC's coast, until eventually they make this small encircled region, which they begin to shrink in on. Meanwhile, they send some boats to take over Angola's little, what's it called, exclave. And that's when the coalition realized, oh no, we're screwed. So the remaining members of the coalition surrender, leaving only Angola. The encirclement they have surrenders. This large portion over here surrenders, followed shortly by the smaller portion. In the peace treaty, we see Chad finally complete their empire as they snatch a little foot from Angola, with Angola's exclave being given over to the DRC as compensation for the previous invasion. Along with this, Equatorial Guinea was forced to cede their island over to Cameroon, while also being annexed by Gabon to create this mess thing that is then puppeted by the Chadian Empire alongside the Central African Republic and the Republic of Congo. And that is going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, then hit the like button. Not gonna lie, I only did this video because Nothing else in my house is working. I needed something to do. I did this. So, yeah, that's a little backstory for you. So, I will see you next time during the stream, epic stream. Goodbye.